And welcome back, everybody, to the Freaking Awesome Podcast, and this is episode 44.
Yeah, man. Let's kill that bass head. Alright, let's do this. I'm on the air, we got this podcast flow. It's me and Tony on the mics, we gotta let you know of current events, little gaming, sprinkling some entertainment. We stay humble, but our moms still think we're famous. Turn up the bass and baby, maybe let that magic flow. Our spoken word is all the things you really wanna know. Having a good time on the show, T-Bows and Matty G. Tune in and hit subscribe and join us on the FAP.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Freaking Awesome Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Bowes, and sitting across from me is a pillow with Matty G's face taped to it. And to go with that pillow and picture, here is Matty G's disembodied voice. Matty G, how you doing, buddy?
Ooh, I live inside your pillow.
Now, we've always talked about what happens to that pillow, right? So,
oh, God.
Yeah. It's true. How you doing with the social distancing, bud?
Pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty
you
good.
tired of it? Tired of your family? Ready to go to work again?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, the nice thing is the weather's been good. It's a little rainy today, actually, but it has been good. So I've been getting the spring cleaning done, man. Getting the garage cleared out and getting the yard cleaned up. And what about you?
Yeah, it's the same. It's a lot of yard work. I've chopped down a lot of trees, and it's keeping me busy. That's for sure.
Nice.
Perfect. Speaking of busy, today's special guest is a historical fiction author with a countless number of 5-star reviews for his novels such as A Cobbler's Tale, The Righteous One, Moonflower, and most recently, #1 on the Mystery Tribune's compiled list of latest and greatest for April 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, big welcome for Neil Perry Gordon. Neil, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. What a great introduction.
Well, we try our best. We do a little research there. And I got to tell you, it's you seem to have a great year starting for you. You've got not only the one newest book out, but you also have another one coming up in June, correct?
Yeah, actually, it's coming out really quickly. It'll be out sometime in June, and that's Hope City. That's my latest novel about the gold rush in Alaska in 1898.
That's fantastic. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Ladies and gentlemen who are listening right now, you definitely have we have a special extra special surprise for you. And you want to make sure that you catch the show and stay tuned because Neil's going to tell us all about it in a little bit. But for now, Matty G, how about you lead us into the news?
Yeah, absolutely. So, first article, delayed delivery. Toronto man finally gets hair cream he ordered back in 2012.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I know they call it snail mail, but wow.
Man, I complain about Canada Post so much, and now I am totally justified, and I'm just going to reference this story every time that I complain about it. I'm just going to be like, hey, remember that article I read with the guy that didn't get his packets for 8 years? So,
all right, tell us some more.
Yeah, so, what's that?
I said, tell us some more.
Okay, you got it. A Toronto man finally received an expedited package from Canada Post after 8 years. Elliot Bernstein posted on Reddit this week he received a package on May 6th from well.ca. He didn't recall ordering anything recently from the pharmacy, so he was surprised to find a tube of hair cream that he ordered 8 years ago with an invoice signed by Jen thanking him for his order. So the actual invoice was 8 years old.
Wow.
So upon opening the package, I realized it was a tube of bulk Burl cream I ordered back in 2012. The contents of the tube is yellow, and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be white. My theory, it was just sitting at Canada Post, and somebody finally decided to deliver it after 8 years. The Bernstein, a 29-year-old resident physician, said he started laughing when he realized what had happened. I quickly realized it was an order I had placed in 2012 that I never got. He'd been living in Ottawa where he placed his order, but the hair cream never arrived at that address. So well.ca said they'd ship a product again to his Toronto home, which he thought might be easier. When it didn't arrive again, he just gave up. I think it probably got misplaced somewhere, maybe in one of the mail sorting rooms, and was off to the side and no one ever looked for it. Maybe they're trying to reorganize things with the whole COVID and it finally came up. He also didn't follow up with Canada Post to see what happens, given the hair cream was only $5. Canada Post actually issued a statement on Thursday saying that it was investigating a very unique situation. We can only speculate at this point what have happened. Well.ca confirmed its customer care center shipped its package 8 years ago. So they actually went and found the order and have shipping confirmation that they sent it out. So it got stuck in Canada Post somewhere along the way, and it arrived after 8 years. So I thought that was just friggin' great, because I'm always complaining about Canada Post.
So
sounds like Norm from Seinfeld,
right?
There's a few things about that were super funny, and yeah, that the first one, of course, was no doubt after that amount of time that Korean has totally expired by the time he got it. But the fact that the invoice not only had said the date on it, and I bet you it was in probably pretty good condition, considering it was probably printed on thermal paper and never actually saw the light of day. So
yeah,
it was probably quite clear to read.
And I saw that they posted the picture on the site for with the news article.
Yeah,
and the print was like as clean as the day it was printed.
Wow.
So
wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I want to know what Brill cream is made from, because, I don't think it's anything natural, so I don't know what it turned into.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I could imagine when it came, it probably just smelled like every type of medicine that was at that, like back in the 80s, how all medicine smelled the same.
It's just a shot of gin.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. All right.
They should make everything out of the same stuff they make Twinkies from, because those things seem to last forever.
Yeah.
And those are yellow too.
Exactly. Yeah. I got to tell you, it's definitely, there's a few times that Canada Post has let me down, and now, you know what? Maybe there's the silver lining on all this COVID thing, is they're finally getting to mail that's probably been sitting on their shelves for 8 years. So, good for you, Canada Post. Keep it up.
I just can't believe it showed up, man. Like,
yeah.
That's the crazy thing. Like, you figured they would have just thrown it out. Like, I don't want to admit defeat here, so I'm just going to throw this order out. But no, they finally delivered it, which they kind of shot themselves in the foot. You know what I mean?
But you know what? But to think about it back in like the really old days and stuff, like mail just, it got there. And even if it was like a letter, saying like, hey, your son or husband died in the war, that letter would still eventually make it. And they'd be like, good old mailman got that mail through no matter what.
That's true. That's
so
true.
I think it's just, as society, we become so impatient if it doesn't happen within 5 days, like they're dead to us.
Well, I mean, it's the Netflix era, bro. If it's not instant, it doesn't exist.
It's true. That's true.
So, we should go back to carrier pigeon.
You and the carrier pigeons. You're definitely like, you're just pushing for a coup, aren't you?
I may or may not.
You bring up pigeons so many times on this show that I swear Ashley's probably bracing for you to start building a pigeon coop back there, and she'd be like, "No, I knew this was going to happen. You've been talking about pigeons for the last 2 years."
Yeah, she saw the writing in the stars.
Yep, for sure.
All right, what do you got for us, Tony?
So my article, the title reads, "Police apprehend robbers masked in melons." So, yeah. So across melons, yes.
Like watermelon?
Watermelons. Actually, specifically watermelons. What happened was, as across the country with this COVID thing, America struggles to find face masks, and they're now required by most businesses and states to stay at home, with orders to not go out unless you have the mask. So consequently, those in need for masks who are for work are even more in dire straits. So the frontline workers, medical workers, and professionals, and apparently robbers, are all scrambling to find face coverings before all the public snatches it up. So what happened was there was some security footage that shows two men in a lifted black Toyota Tacoma arriving at a Sheetz convenience store about 9:30 at night. They both get out of their vehicle in their masks, and their faces are masked by hollowed out watermelons with their heads inside them.
Oh my God.
Now, the Louisa police chief, Tom Leary, told CNN, like, this is definitely not something you see every day. We're actually a really nice, quiet town. And not a lot actually happens here, but hardworking people, and this is something pretty unusual. And he said it's actually so unusual that I can say this has never actually happened before. According to the AP News, the Louisiana Police Department put out a call for the public to, asking tipsters to help identify the quote-unquote melon heads. The request bore fruit, though, as the authorities arrested one suspect, Justin Rogers, last week as they brought in an assortment of charges against him, two of which were in to basically give the incident appearance of a teenage hijinks rather than the work of a criminal mastermind. They were basically charged with underage possession of alcohol and petty larceny of alcohol. The first its impression of the men found watermelons that basically fit over their head was quite ingenious, because it's not often that you're going to come across a watermelon that fits on your head. Secondly, though, that you hope that their decision to mask their identities in fruit meant they were leaving life-saving masks to others who actually needed it.
Very true.
Right? So some of the people are like, well, how bad are they? They didn't actually go and waste a good mask. But,
what about the family of 5 who's out of watermelon now?
Right? Like, hopefully they at least ate the fruit before and they didn't just discard it in the garbage. But the funny thing is, at the very end, they had to note that, the watermelons don't actually meet CDC guidelines for face coverings.
They had to include
well,
that.
Is that true? I mean, CDC has never made a comment about watermelon.
Right? And I mean, if they didn't cut a mouth hole and it was just 2 eye holes, how much is actually getting out? I mean, they're probably blocking more than the mask is.
I think it's probably pretty effective.
Right? I think CDC says it's time for them to step up the game and start testing watermelon masks.
I've been watching the news. I know that watermelons are great for you now.
Yeah.
Put them on your heads. Everyone can do it. It's great.
Oh, goodness. All right, Maddie, what else you got?
All right. This one's a little racier, but it's funny too and weird at the same time. So a flip-flop freak foiled. That is the name of the article. Try saying that 3 times fast.
It sounds like something right out of a 60s Batman. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
No, but seriously, try and say it.
Yeah, no.
I knew you
Can't
could.
say it once. So.
Yep.
All kinds of unusual things happen in Thailand. The latest is the arrest of a man with quite a flip-flop fetish. The man was finally nabbed after stealing more than 100 pairs of the footwear from nearby homes. So he was going into homes and stealing flip-flops.
Oh.
The kicker, he admitted to having sex with all of the flip-flops.
Oh my God.
So, Uripak Klea, 24, was arrested after numerous complaints about missing flip-flops in Nonthaburi, central Thailand. The alleged perpetrator was identified from video footage taken from his most recent alleged caper. Police found 126 pairs of stolen flip-flops at his rented home during his May 24th arrest. Klea allegedly admitted to the thefts, and he wore them around his home because it turned him on. He said to the news article. He also detailed further things he would do with the footwear before he actually had sex with them. Then he would be on another pair, though he kept the other ones around. So he just kept moving through these shoes like a train. Police said the man had been previously arrested last year for stealing flip-flops in another district. He fully admitted to stealing the sandals for lewd purposes, so he'll be detained at the station until a court appearance for prosecutors to decide what the next legal process is for them. Yeah, and that's all there was.
Okay. I have got so many questions. I'm going to have to do a follow-up. The first question I have about this is, why would you admit to having sex? Like, I don't think that was the question the police asked. There's no way that they looked at him and said, did you have sex with these shoes? Like, no, did he just come out right? Did he just come right out and be like, and I had sex with them?
Did you steal the sir? Yeah. Yeah, I sexed them. So
the second question I have with that is, so I think you said there was 128 pairs of shoes.
Yeah, 126.
126 pairs. So does that mean that was like 253 partners, or is that just considered 126 menage a trois?